Go now in peace and bless the world. And remember, you go nowhere by accident. Where you're going, God is sending you. And where you are, He has placed you. God has a purpose for your life right where you are.
On May 9th, 1926, 53 people were sent out with a specific mandate to plant a gospel-centered church on the northern edge of a growing city. They stood in an empty pasture with no buildings, but they carried a mission that has defined our DNA for a century. By August, 190 charter members secured the land for $52,500, staking a claim for the generations that followed. Under their first pastor, Dr. W.A. Alexander, the first stones of the building were laid, where they were not only building classrooms, but a lighthouse for worship.
I joined this church in about 1962. I always wanted to go to church here because the coolest kids were here, and Dr. Elliott was the best preacher in town. I have loved being a member of this church. I was married here. My children were baptized here.
By 1935, the call had outgrown the walls, spilling into temporary shacks to make room for a congregation that wouldn't stop growing. The real test came in 1941 with the looming recession and steel restrictions for the war effort. The safe choice was to wait to grow. We finished building not when the world was ready, but when God knew we needed it most. That momentum only grew. Under the leadership of Dr. Elliott and Dr. Bell, the patch of pastureland became a global hub. We reached people around the world, founded Texas Health Presbyterian Hospital, worked with Billy Graham, and helped launch the Jesus film. Our campus has never been a destination, but a training ground to raise disciples of Jesus Christ and send them out into the world. For 100 years, we've gathered within these walls for one reason: to be sent back out. We invest in walls and each other so the mission can move far beyond them and ourselves.
We can stand on that Ebenezer, on that rock of remembrance, and know with full confidence that He's going to be faithful in the future. I hope that in 100 years, when they look back on this 100 years, that they are continuing to mark God's faithfulness, and that know that it is not just the people, although God uses people in such beautiful ways to bring about His mission in the world, and He is doing that now, but it has really been God's hand and His faithfulness over all of these years that continues to be a mark of this church, and I hope it is still in 100 years.
Throughout the century, that call has survived storms, seasons of grief, and spectacular moments. And just as our founders did in a 1926 pasture, every generation since has had to ask, how do we make room for what God has in store for us next? Dallas has always been a city of rapid change, and we are a church called to change with it. We've continuously updated our spaces and our reach, not to preserve a monument, but to prepare for a future driven by our mission. From 190 charter members to a global family of churches today, we remain a people rooted in the past, yet always leaning toward the next generation.
I've run into people who have been here and their family members since the charter members 100 years ago, and that's incredible to see that. At the core of who we are, the soul of our church, I would say it's a joyful, multi-generational family.
A century of faith, a legacy of action, pursuing God's calling for centuries to come.